What if the most terrifying ghost stories are echoes of history demanding to be judged? Today, we board a ship that never truly sank, one that drifts through the fog of time, caught in a loop of guilt, denial, and retribution. In the Twilight Zone episode Judgment Night, a man finds himself trapped aboard a doomed vessel in 1942, but he doesn't remember why until it's far too late. This isn't just a ghost story, it's a reckoning. Using tarot, we're not asking what he did, we're asking what humanity does when its darkest choices won't stay buried. Let's step aboard and ask the cards, what moment in history caused the haunting to begin? Hello everyone, welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time to my channel. So we are going to hop right in with the Oracle cards. I use Oracle first because it does not read my mind and it really doesn't care what I think. So then when Oracle is finished answering the questions, we are going to pop into Tarot to get a little more information. So here we go with question 1. What moment in history caused the haunting to begin? And we are looking for what act or choice sparked a collective wound that won't close. Now we're talking about some kind of a disaster in history or something that happened in history that is now called a haunting because it haunts us. So we have Jurassic Park. Okay, so if this is true to form here, what we are getting is the end of the dinosaurs. What moment in history caused the haunting to begin? The death of the dinosaurs is what I'm getting. That's a pretty clear-cut card. 65 million years in the making. All right, so let's keep going and see. I didn't expect that. See where it goes. So we have the bridge to Terabithia. Now the bridge to Terabithia is a movie about manifestation, or well, childhood imagination. Let's put it that way. It's childhood imagination. And these children had a forest and their imagination created creatures and people to make their adventure come alive. And I feel like with Jurassic Park, this is either saying that dinosaurs really never existed or they never were destroyed. One of the two. But in our history, what we know is that the dinosaurs went extinct. That's the history. Let's go further. We have Demolition Man. All right, this is where technology became so overwhelming that things just couldn't stay the same. And I'm not saying, well, maybe I am saying with Demolition Man, maybe the dinosaurs were wiped out not by an ice age, or at least not by a natural ice age. Perhaps that's what it's saying. So let's go a little further. Yeah, because Bridge to Terabithia, that's saying that, you know, what we know is fantasy. Okay, then we have volcano, which is kind of saying that no, they were not wiped out by Ice Age. And that's providing I have that correct. Some of the shows that I've seen have shown being wiped out by a volcano, by the heat. But I think this is kind of the cards playing a game with me. Like I said, they don't care what I think, but they know what I think. I'm pretty sure. And I'm looking at this card as not necessarily anything that happened to the dinosaurs. I feel like it's telling me that I've hit the nail on the head. Kind of like the penny game that you can play, or the hide the object game, and somebody hides it and the other person, as they start looking for it, the person who hid it is saying, oh, you're getting warmer, to let them know that they're getting closer to finding the object. Or you're ice cold, you're not anywhere near it. Okay, I feel like this is saying we're right on the money. We are hotter than hell with what we've got here. So let's keep going. We have release, Shambhala, and radio. Okay, so I feel like with this release card here, I think that there's been people who have actually brought this up, that the dinosaurs never, didn't really die that way, and that it wasn't natural. I think we've been told just to let that kind of thinking go. What in the world? If you want to live in a fantasy world, well, that's totally up to you. But this is Earth. We live on Earth. Look at the difference between these cards. So we're being asked to not entertain any kind of thoughts like this, but this is the moment in history that the haunting began. Maybe it's the first unnatural act of man that destroyed something amazing. So let's see what the tarot has to share. All right, so we have the Three of Pentacles. I'm pretty sure with Jurassic Park, this Three of Pentacles is, there was a lot of growth of life on Earth at the time with the dinosaurs. They were thriving, absolutely thriving. And with the King of Pentacles, yeah, there were humans back then, apparently with brains, that didn't wish to share the Earth, as definitely is even now. They didn't wish to share the Earth, so their respect for the dinosaurs just wasn't there. They didn't want to respect that, and they certainly didn't want more coming. Seven of Swords. So yeah, they did their dirty deed. They did their dirty deed, and nobody really knows why. Okay, we know that they stole the swords, but we don't know why they stole the swords. We know that they did this. Maybe it was an experiment. Maybe they just wanted to see if they could do it. How horrifying would that be? Just see if they could do it. Oh, it says, yeah, we're pretty much moving full force on this. We're right on the money. Full force. And then we have the Knight of Cups. Yeah. Doesn't do you any good to act on the emotion of the possibility of this. Does you no good at all. Release it. Just release it. Three of Cups. Go ahead. Be in your fantasy world. Enjoy your life. Celebrate. Have fun. Let your emotions grow in that way. That's the healthier way to be. Five of Wands. While we make sure that we train people to competitively destroy even more of the world, while you're over here. So yeah, this is okay. So we know that the moment in history that caused the haunting to begin was the destruction of the dinosaurs. So let us pick up the cards and then move on to question 2. And if you're new to my channel, I clean up a little bit differently. I'm a little more particular about how I pick up my cards because I want to make sure that when I do shuffle, they are good and shuffled. So when I end up getting repeat cards, which does happen, I know that it's not because I didn't shuffle properly. Okay? They're intermixed in there. And I do the exact same thing with the Oracle decks. I just pick up the cards here and randomly put them somewhere within the deck. And that way, again, when we get repeat cards, which inevitably we seem to, then we know that they're meant to be here. It isn't my bad shuffling. All right, so question 2. What refuses to be forgotten? So we're looking for the truth about this haunting, the pain, or the voice buried beneath the official story. What refuses to be forgotten? So let's see what we have here. The Mothman prophecies. Now with the Mothman prophecies, nobody really knows what this Mothman is and why he comes. But in Pleasant Point, West Virginia, I believe it is, this Mothman made himself known to a good number of people and warned them of a disaster. They had no idea what was going to happen, but it ended up that a bridge collapsed and killed a good number of people. So the Mothman itself, he was a creature, an unexplainable creature with obvious intelligence. And he was looking out for humanity, but maybe so high-minded that he did not have any idea how to communicate other than the way that he did. So I feel like this is saying it is possible that the dinosaurs were far more intelligent than we have been led to believe. Maybe they weren't just vegisauruses and carnivores. Maybe there was much more to them than that. And if you've ever seen the show Dinotopia, it's not a very long show, but it shows the dinosaurs and the humans living and working together. All but the carnivores. They don't bring them into the picture as being the friendly ones. But yeah, so maybe there's much more to the story than has ever been shared. So let us see what more we get out of this. There it is. There's Jurassic Park again. So yeah, with the combination between the two, I believe that these dinosaurs were intelligent, probably as intelligent as humans. Or the humans that had the technology to destroy them. So let us take this a little bit further. Chances of that card coming out again. Again, we have so many cards. They were done at random. Put away at random. Okay, so let us see. We've got teach your children. And in this one, this is about building the future. So I feel as though something happened, or the reason that these dinosaurs were destroyed is because somebody didn't want to have them being a part of the future. I think they were too wise, that they had practices that were enviable, obviously, that were enviable in comparison to the humans that destroyed them. And they just couldn't stand to let them live. I think the future of the earth would have been much different. As we see, teach your children, I think their wisdom would have made the world a completely different place. Top of the world. And again, going back to what I was just saying, they would have created a world where frequencies were aligned. So in other words, I have a funny feeling that they had pretty much mastered healing and mastered communication, mastered connection, just had very, I'm going to say, human-like gifts, or gifts that were far above human knowledge at that point in time. So it's saying what refuses to be forgotten. Well, we maybe don't know the history of this. It may be written down somewhere and we just have never seen it. So maybe that's what refuses to be forgotten, is whatever is written down. Maybe it is in the fact that there are only bones and no brain to study, nothing to show what the cards are saying here, but somebody remembers because it's being shown in the cards. Then we have the fog, guidance, and guardians of the galaxy. So with the fog, I think the communication, or the real reason that we don't remember, is because it's been fogged out of us. As with many things, history has been written a certain way and played over and over and over for us until any possibility of anything different having happened is just a fog, not even to be taken seriously. But we are being guided right now to see the light, see what actually happened through this Twilight Zone inspired episode. And I feel like we are being guided by otherworldly beings, guardians of the galaxy, to see the truth. And I say that because they're right below Jurassic Park. And the intelligent Mothman is right here with the guidance. We need to see what these beings are and understand what these beings truly were here on Earth. Not what we've been told. That's not the truth of it at all. But there are aliens or guardians of the galaxy out there that know the truth. And they know the fog that we live in. So let's see what Tarot has to share. All right. So we have the Five of Cups. Yeah, this is a loss. This is a very emotional loss, what has happened here. The fact that we are not aware that these beings, these dinosaurs, were intelligent, caring, wise beings that could care for the earth the way the earth needed to be cared for. Three of Cups. They worked together to do whatever needed to be done on the earth. They were wise. And like I said, if you ever get the chance to see Dinotopia, it's a cute show, but to see dinosaurs and people working together, I believe that is a very factual image, what we're seeing here. The Emperor. They ruled this earth. The Emperor, they ruled this earth because they knew how to honor their ancestors. They knew how to teach what they knew. They were building an incredible future that involved both humans and dinosaur. And of course, you know, their powers that be couldn't take that, right? There's always something, one bad apple. Nine of Swords. It was turned into a nightmare for them. Something was disrupting their frequencies, okay? They were very aligned, very in tune with the divine, very connected, living in a timeless bliss like no other. And of course, something had to destroy that. Something began messing with their frequencies, which was changing their behavior. Suddenly they, instead of being blissful, they were anxious, which they probably didn't understand because they'd probably never been anxious. King of Swords. Yeah, somebody controlling the thinking. Somebody controlling the thinking, our thinking, sharing a history with us that is not factual. Four of Wands, the guidance. They want to bring the truth to the surface. They want us to know what our home, our earth home, was really like. And yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy want to manifest for us what really was. They want to, as above, so below. You think it, you make it happen. So as above is, it's in your mind, it's in your head. So below, it becomes reality. So they want to share this with us. They want to show us what life was like with the dinosaurs, because it's certainly not what we've been told. All right, so let us pick up the cards. And I'd like to say, for those of you who, again, are new to my channel, if you hear strange noises in the background, I have a Chihuahua. And right now he is in the other room, but I've been hearing him snoring. I don't think I have a video on my channel that doesn't have him snoring in it. So I just want you to be aware that those strange noises are a snoring Chihuahua. He's such a sweet boy. Very tolerant of my recording. Okay, so, and also, if you are enjoying this content, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe to this channel. There's a lot more where this came from, and also to share, because that helps the channel grow. And most importantly, comment. I'd love to hear your comments. And if you're a card reader, share with me what you're getting from these cards. That'd be great too. All right, so question 3. What illusion allows the cycle to continue? So what belief, what denial, what justification keeps this past, this destruction of the dinosaurs, unaccounted for? Oops. Yeah, we don't take jumpers. Not in these kinds of readings. All right. Love train. What illusion allows the cycle to continue? I think this goes along with the spirit of hope. Even though we know that there's a lot going on with technology, with things to destroy humanity even in the current day, okay, allegedly. Even though we know that, we always have a spirit of hope within us that says, no, mankind or people could not possibly be this evil. They just can't. So that's part of the illusion. And many of us have that illusion because we aren't built that way. We are built to love. We are built to think of like a universal solution to something rather than an instantaneous power solution to something. So let's see where this goes. Good vibrations. Yeah, we truly would like to think the best of people as much as we possibly can. And there is a movement, literally a movement to say, for some, that positive thoughts, always positive thoughts, create good vibration. And there is logic to that to some degree, but we are human. So being able to hold positive thoughts every second is truly, I don't even think it's possible. Okay, at least in my opinion, I don't think it's possible. And, still live a normal, healthy life. We need to be able to express our emotions. And that's kind of been proven in, if you work with your chakras, you need to be able to release specific emotions because there are specific emotions that affect your chakras. So if you've had a heart shock or you've had heart trouble, you've probably had a lot of emotional situations happen in your life. Maybe breakups or the death of a number of people that you love, things that have really affected your heart, your emotions, your love emotions, okay? So that can, if they are not released, that can affect the health of your heart. Okay, so it's very important, yes, to try and stay, keep your frequency up, your vibrations up, but to realize occasionally you do have to fall apart now and then. You do, because you're human. And that helps you to release. If you break down and cry, that helps immensely. Clear out the grunge. So anyway, that was kind of off the beaten track, but the illusion, this is almost like sticking our head in the sand because we really don't want to believe, or maybe just saying, if we keep our vibrations high, that's what will change the world. Okay. So let's see where we go. Bus stop. Yeah. It's saying this illusion, if we want the cycle of lies to stop, and we are being fed lies on a regular basis, okay, allegedly. If we want the lies to stop, we have to stop. We have to start realizing the truth, okay, admitting the truth to ourselves instead of just hoping that, oh no, it couldn't possibly be, okay? and to realize that, yes, keeping ourselves, our frequencies up is good because it's healthy, but to realize that sometimes there are opportune moments to let it go, to feel sad, to feel angry. It's okay. That helps release the human emotion that affects us. So let's see what more we have. The night they drove old Dixie down. Yeah, it is important for us. It says mourn the loss. We have to, our strength, a lot of our strength comes from being able to mourn the loss of something. And then as time goes on, that loss, that pain gets a little bit less. If we don't mourn, we're stuck. Okay? This is called adapting, and then from there we rebuild. So when we're talking about the illusion that allows this cycle to continue, about the haunting that took place, about the moment in history that caused the haunting to us, the realization along the way of knowing that there are not good people in the world sometimes, okay? We have to adapt. We have to rebuild. This is what it's meant to be. So in other words, we need to rewrite history to the best of our ability, to let people know what the real history actually was, to the best of our ability. And I don't need to shuffle again. I just need to pull a card. So Pleasantville. Another one bites the dust. And Legally Blonde. So with Pleasantville, this is a movie that begins in black and white and eventually turns to color. So what we have seen here with the situation with the dinosaurs, as far as anybody knew, it was history's black and white, right? It's written down, that's got to be the truth, right? But we're being shown the color, the true color of what that history was. That dinosaurs were not just wild, crazy animals. They were intelligent animals in a community that worked side by side with people. Even the shows, I was just watching for probably the second time a show that's called Terra Nova. It was only on for one season, but it was going back in time. Earth was destroyed, so it was going back in time through a time tunnel and living then so many millions of years in the past, and there were dinosaurs on this planet. The dinosaurs were wild, okay? They didn't meld well with people. So even those kinds of shows, because nobody knows any different, that's how the shows are written. So here we have another one bites the dust. It ended up being a survival of the fittest kind of situation. Collateral damage to somebody, okay? Not important, not considered important. These dinosaurs were destroyed purposefully, and it wasn't considered important because it was a power struggle. Isn't most things a power struggle? And, it was powers that there's always somebody that wants to be at the top. Legally Blonde. On the surface, she seems to be a very kind of, what do I want to say? I'm going to say they make her appear very airheaded. Like all she thinks about is fashion and her clothes, and Bruiser, her little chihuahua. And, this is who she is, and that she should never be taken seriously. So I feel like there are people out there that know some secrets, okay? That know about certain illusions, and they were made to appear like her. But if you've watched the show Legally Blonde, she ends up proving herself and becoming a lawyer, and a very good one at that. So if somebody is painted in a certain way, and maybe that's not, don't take that at face value, especially if they're decrying some, well, excuse me, especially if they're warning people about things that could be very disastrous to humanity. All right, so let's see what Tarot has to share here. We have the Two of Cups. Yeah, we really want to have connection in such a compassionate way. We don't want to see the world in a bad way, or people in the world in a bad way. Two of Wands. And it is two different passions. You've got those people who want to live in a world where they do believe that keeping the vibration high, the frequency high, is the way to go. I agree to that to some extent, but I'm kind of in the middle of the two. The other ones don't believe in it at all. I'm in the middle. I believe there has to be a balance of both. Ace of Cups. Yeah, this is saying we were given emotion. We need to use it. And how we use it is unlimited. It is a gift. It was given to us. So we need to use that, not stop all emotion because, yeah, just not. And then we have the Nine of Wands. Our backs were up against the wall, and oftentimes are. But again, we are strong. Humans are strong. We mourn what we lose, and then we adapt and we rebuild. That's how it is, or how it should be. Seven of Swords. Yeah, we weren't told the truth. We weren't told the truth at all. They made it black and white. And we have the Seven of Swords here. They stole the swords. They never told us why they stole the swords. But then the color comes out and we find out that it was because these dinosaurs were more intelligent, had things figured out, worked well with the earth. Couldn't have that. So we have, interestingly, Death with another one bites the dust. I don't even think I have to explain that. It's clear as can be. And then we have the Six of Wands. Yeah, this needs to be recognized, that there are people out there who know truths, however they know them. And usually it's through pretty heavy-duty research. And they need to be recognized as such for the passion that they put into trying to keep humanity in a good place. Okay, so let us pick up these cards again and get them put back, and we'll move on to question 4. We have 6 questions in this Twilight Zone inspired episode 10. And if you stay to the end, you get a teaser for episode 11. And you also get to see the show schedule if you're following any of the other shows. I do 3 shows each week. If you're following any of the other shows, you'll be getting a new show schedule. So we're changing shows on you, except for Twilight Zone, because Twilight Zone has 156 episodes we need to go through. This is number 10. We got a long way to go. All right. Oops. Okay, so question 4. How does history reveal itself again? So we're looking for like patterns, symbols, or events in our current world that seem to be repeating. The blob. Well, history repeats itself in that things still remain very unexplained to us. When things happen, we get the blob. We get BS. As a for instance, we have somebody sees a spaceship, what they believe is a spaceship. Oh no, that was a weather balloon. Okay. Some of the things that are come up with on the fly are pretty ridiculous. But yes, we are greeted with the blob. Teach your children. They are building the future with this kind of mentality, okay? They are building the future. They are teaching our children the blob. They're using the wisdom that they have, and don't think these people are dumb. They're not. They're not at all. They're creating the path. They're building the future. They're using their wisdom and teaching us and their children to follow suit. This has been going on in history for a long, long time. Which is maybe one of the reasons it says honor the ancestors. If you've had really awesome ancestors and not ones like the ones who are doing this blob stuff, the world would be a different place. The Poseidon Adventure. Disasters keep on happening. And this is where history reveals itself again. We are told blobbish things about things that happen. History repeats itself. Disasters continue to happen. People continue to die. Things become extinct. And things just keep repeating in that way. And we just keep being told the blob. There are people who are getting wiser, though. And I'll take that with that card as well. There's many of us that are getting wiser. Midnight Train to Georgia. Yeah, there's a lot of us that realize what is going on and have realized for some long time. And it's almost as though the dinosaurs are channeling information to us and saying, you need to return to your roots. You need to start living a simple, authentic life that does not depend upon those people who like to fill us with the blob. It may mean giving up some dreams. It may mean realizing that fame isn't everything. Money isn't everything. It just means finding self again and finding that peace. And if you remember, we were talking about how the dinosaurs lived. They were connected to the earth. They were healthy. They knew how to communicate, to connect with the divine. We need to get back there. Here's the mother and child reunion again. We need to have this kind of connection with the earth. We are the children. Earth is the mother. That's what the dinosaurs had. Dragonfly. And let your love flow. And here again, if you've seen the movie Dragonfly, it is about a woman who has passed away, and Kevin Costner keeps getting signs from that woman, the woman that passed away, keeps getting signs about something he doesn't know what. I'm not going to tell you the end because that would ruin the whole movie for you if you haven't seen it. It's a really good movie. But I feel, like I just said, that the dinosaurs are giving us signs, like they did with the volcano, saying we're hotter than hell. We're right on the money with what we're thinking, okay? They're giving us signs, showing us the way, and adding in here, let your love flow. They were in tune. They were connected. They knew how to embrace life. They knew how to love. They had authentic expression. They weren't just wild animals. All right, so history is revealing itself again with, well, and continues to do so, obviously, with the blobby information that we receive for, disasters that happen and other things that humans should never know because, we're not intelligent enough. And that's what our future is like, what our future is becoming, and what our children are being taught. Although more and more people are homeschooling. Smart move. And that's nothing against those who cannot homeschool because they have to work. Fully understand that. But you can teach morals and values and some other things to your children. Okay, so yeah, Nine of Wands. They want to make sure that we are, well, in this case, always behind bars. That we really don't know anything. Queen of Pentacles. Yep, they try to tell us that they care about us and that they're doing everything they possibly can to make our lives wonderful. And it's all blob. Ten of Swords. Yeah, Ten of Swords kind of speaks for itself. Can you see this card? Goes right along with all the disasters. They don't really care who disappears from the earth any more than they did the dinosaurs. Here we have Four of Cups. We have to try to make ourselves a stable life and make that our emotional goal. We need to get back to our roots, like it said, and live a simple, authentic life. Imagine what the life of the dinosaurs was like, and go that route. Then we have King of Swords. This is the ultimate truth. We have the mother and child reunion here. This is getting back to the earth. She is the mother. We are the children. This is the spiritual reconnection, the emotional connection. This is the ultimate truth, not the blob. Dragonfly, we have Two of Swords. It's up to you what you decide to believe. If you believe that the dinosaurs are channeling this message, these messages, fantastic. If not, that's okay too. Because it is really all about love. We have Six of Swords and peace of mind. That's my peace of mind card. When you're in tune and you're connected and you're being authentic and you're sharing love. Being in tune means the dinosaurs can and others can connect with you and share truths. This is peace of mind. It's how life was meant to be. It's what we were supposed to be being taught and what our children are supposed to be being taught. So how does history reveal itself again? The patterns, the symbols, the events. Well, they're showing us the events. There's constant disaster. They're teaching incorrectly, teaching incorrect history, filling our heads with mush. All right, so let us pick up again and go on to question 5. Every now and then I forget one of these little cards, so I try not to. And you'll have to forgive me if you notice that a lot of times I don't look at the camera. I'm trying to teach myself to pay more attention to the camera and to look at you, but sometimes I get so into the cards that I forget that I'm even filming. So yeah, you'll have to forgive me if you notice that. Maybe call it out to me and say, hey, you need to work on that a little bit more in the comments. All right, so number 5, who bears the unseen guilt? The entities, would this be nations, institutions, generations, all carrying this invisible weight? So who bears the unseen guilt? You would think it'd be difficult to bear guilt if you really don't know the truth. But more and more of us are seeing the light. And when we see the light, it's probably best to consider questioning things, questioning history, and determining, for ourselves what we believe is true or not true, what we believe of history is fact or not fact. When we see the truth and we really don't do anything about it, or even the smallest anything about it, then we start having that kind of guilt, even if we aren't aware that it's there. And here we have Legally Blonde again. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. When you see the light, it's necessary, or should be necessary, to start putting something out there about it. I don't mean that you need to be, maybe you're a writer. Maybe you can write about it. Maybe you're a singer. Maybe you can create a song about it, share it with the world. Do something to share. Maybe you're somebody who creates miniature worlds. Create a miniature world, for instance, of the dinosaurs, somehow showing exactly who they were and not who we were told they were. What our history says. That kind of thing. There's a motorcycle coming by, I think. Not sure if you'll hear that on the microphone or not, but it's what it is if you hear it. Okay. Then we have True Grit. True Grit in the movie, there's 3 people who are tracking someone who killed somebody else. Or more than one somebody, I don't remember. Anyway, this unseen guilt will track us. Even if we weren't a part of the demise of those dinosaurs 65 million years ago, or however long it was, we will still bear guilt. Unseen guilt. Unknown why it's their guilt. We'll still bear that if our eyes are open. We will. There's no way around it. Or if, say one of the ancestors had a story about it and we just poo-pooed it off. that guilt is ours because more things are happening and it's being allowed to happen with the same success rate. So let's see what else we have. Night they drove old Dixie down again. We've got that smack in the center yet again. The way to avoid this unseen guilt is to mourn the loss, well, accept our strength, mourn the loss, adapt and rebuild, but also start putting the information out there to the best of your ability. In whatever medium you excel in, okay? That will keep the guilt at bay. Will it go round in circles? Magic and bus stop. One of the main things with this, will it go round in circles? The answer is yes. It's going to keep being a cycle. But if we begin moving in this kind of direction and showing our true grit, mourning the loss of those dinosaurs, which I'm sure has probably never happened. Maybe paleontologists have mourned the loss, but mourning the loss of those dinosaurs as being the first moment in history where the haunting began, where life as we know it now began. The unfairness, the crime, Anyway, it will keep going round in circles, round in circles, round in circles, until we begin to express ourselves in an authentic way, okay, as with this, and our true grit. And we begin showing, how do I want to say this? If we are grateful to be alive, if we are getting the right amount of sun to the best of our ability, considering something's happening there as well, which we are being given blob info on, getting the vitamin D, listening for the messages that our guides are constantly feeding us, and looking forward to the day ahead, okay? Looking forward to being alive, looking forward to whatever the day may bring. That's part of the magic to start changing things, because that kind of an attitude brings the universe is saying, ooh, this person's on fire, and we need to give that person more fire, more power. Then, and only then, when all of us understand and begin to take that stand, only then will this unseen guilt play out, and only then will the cycle stop. We may never be unhaunted by how things began, but it will stop. So let us see what Tarot has to add. All right, so we have the Ace of Pentacles, there is so much in life, so much to life. There's no end. There's no, what do I want to say, end to the potential of life and what life has to offer. We won't see the light on everything, but we may see the light on a lot of it. Ten of Cups. When we begin finding our gifts and being able to actually share those gifts in a way to bring out the truth of things, we are going to be such happy people. Such happy people. And our lives are going to be, well, our intuition is going to be right on point for sure. I mean, it's going to get more powerful the more light we see. And we're also being helped along with that through our guides and angels and etc. We're going to be very happy people. 3 of Wands. Interesting how there's the 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is the growth of our passion. Very important. The true grit of who we are. The growth of our passion. What can we do to help? Even if it's the smallest of things. To honor, I guess, those dinosaurs. To honor the people who have, lost their lives to the lies. And we're not talking the people who have chosen to be kamikaze pilot type people, which is why the research is very important. Queen of Cups. We're back to the love, the nurturing. Love and nurturing of the earth. Love and nurturing of ourselves, of each other. Being emotionally healthy. Ace of Cups, there we are again. The potential of love is what's going to break this cycle. 4 of Pentacles. Holding on to life in appreciation. Holding on to our lives in appreciation. So that the universe can send the power back to us. Knight of Cups. It's what's going to allow us to be active in healing our history, healing that unseen guilt. We need to be a part of it. That will help us heal that unseen guilt. Be active in that. Helping to heal other people's unseen guilt. Being in service that way. All right. One more question is what we have. Kind of amazed my Chihuahua has been really quiet. That doesn't happen very often. Not when he's sleeping. He's not a yappy Chihuahua though. He's bigger than most and he's not a yappy one. He's a very good boy. All right. Last question. Question 6. What judgment still waits to be rendered? So it's looking at the karmic or historical reckoning that remains unresolved with specifically the dinosaurs. What judgment still waits to be rendered? There it is again. Wanting us to see the light, see the truth, be guided by that truth. There's Dragonfly again. We can be guided by that truth through listening to those who have, well, we're just going to say listening to the dinosaurs. Listening to the dinosaurs share their story. And interesting that that's a dragonfly, because dragon is a kind of dinosaur in a way. So giving that picture. Going to see the light and let the dinosaurs tell their story. Black and white, realizing that it is not black and white. What we know is an illusion. It's a facade. But positive change can come from it if we allow the dinosaurs to tell their story. If we can see the light and allow the dinosaurs to tell their story and realize all the illusion we've been fed. Compromised. Yep. Things have been compromised. Our history has been compromised. Our minds have been compromised. Pretty much everything we know has been compromised. Much has been destroyed. The future has created some pretty scary things, and the past is what has been destroyed. Now, if you remember from Demolition Man, the movie, Wesley Snipes was the bad guy and Sylvester Stallone was the good guy. When he was brought back as his special talent was to knit. Wesley Snipes, they had given him the power to live in this world that he was brought back to with all the knowledge he needed to be a destructive individual. Knowing how to fight, knowing what guns to get, knowing he was just fed information while he was frozen that would allow him to destroy this world. So in this, they destroyed the past and brought it into this very strange future where Taco Bell was the only place you could eat. Okay, so then we've got Bridge to Terabithia. That's kind of scary, right? And Mr. Roboto. Okay, so we know all this. Can we change it? Can we imagine a different future? Can we imagine a distant past or a different past? There is, I have no way of knowing if it's true or it's not true, but it's said that when you make a decision about something, the choice that you did not choose goes off in and creates a whole new timeline where you did choose that specific path. So if we imagine a world where the dinosaurs are alive and healthy and like we've been talking here, where they're intelligent beings, communicate with each other, communicate with the divine, work with the earth, work with humans. If we imagine that, can we create that and then move forward from there? Or do we continue on the path that we're on and never have any reckoning of the history that took place? So let's do tarot one last time. One split, two split, three split. Ace of Wands. And there it is again. We need to see the light. Be guided to the light, the truth. Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, they keep trying. The dinosaurs and past loved ones and whoever, they keep trying to work with us. And they might get in a little bit, and then they come up against a block, a wall. But they keep trying. They keep trying. King of Wands. Again, this is the anger that rules the world. It is the one that is passionate about having everything. The one who tells us it's black and white, when in fact everything that they share is illusion. It's just a facade. Nothing has been real, truthful. And we have the Hierophant. Yeah, that's the person that would prefer to tell us a story. They're storytellers. We've been compromised. The stories that they tell are not truthful ones. Nine of Cups. We need to feel the emotion of this. Really feel it. This is a wish card. The Nine of Cups is a wish card. And my wish for all of us is that we begin to really feel the emotion of what has happened back with the dinosaurs and what is happening currently to all of us in our world today. Eight of Cups. We need to master that emotion. Put it to work for us in a powerful way. Put that emotion into our imagination and into our creativity to enlighten other people too. To open up our communication with the past. Ten of Swords. Yeah, it's probably a good... And there's that Ten of Swords card again, remember? Maybe it's time to put the technology to rest until humanity is wiser and not as greedy. And I'm not saying all of humanity is that way, but we're being ruled by people who are like that. Literally ruled and lied to, and you know, you're here. you probably know. But at any rate, what judgment still waits to be rendered? The karmic or historical reckoning that remains to be resolved? Well, it can be resolved this way. And by trying to manifest. And, you know, perhaps eliminating the technology until we know how to live properly. It's not really telling the judgment per se. I'm not really seeing that. Just seeing the wish. Yeah. So that is it for this episode. I'm going to give you a teaser for episode 11 of the Twilight Zone inspired series. So episode 11 teaser, as we close the chapter on the haunting metaphoric ship that never stopped sinking, which was the haunting of the dinosaur situation, we're left with an eerie thought. What if reality itself is the thing that's slowly disappearing? In the next episode, we dive into the unsettling mystery of what vanishes from our world without us even knowing anything is gone. Join me as we unravel the strange tale of a vanishing reality. What if everything we believe in is slipping away, unnoticed? Okay, so that is the teaser for episode 11. On the screen is also the show schedule, and as you can see, Simpsons has been replaced by Stranger Things, and X-Files replaces Fringe. And as I said, Twilight Zone stays the same because there's a lot of episodes of that. So I'd like to say thank you so much for being a part of this episode and this entire series, actually. I hope you followed along with that. And if not, there's a playlist if you'd like to start at the beginning of the Twilight Zone section, Twilight Zone playlist. Anyway, there's 10 episodes to work with. I thank you for supporting this channel and being a part of it, and hopefully you've made it to the end. And if so, and even not, I'm so glad that you're here, and I'd like to say have a fantastic week, and we will see you here again next week, same place, same time. Take care.